This just in, battle after battle after battle. But before we get to the battlefields, let's talk the political relationships between generals. Very interesting topic, I know. Full generals P.G.T. Beauregard and Joseph E. Johnston are at each other's throats. Both accuse the other of trying to steal their glory won at Bull Run. And on the 19th, President Jefferson Davis of the Confederacy tries to fix the hole in their relationship. Successfully? Only time will tell. Also on the 19th, the Union are at Langley, Virginia. Langley, Virginia is right near Washington, D.C. and Alexandria, Virginia, right around here. Major General George B. McClellan has ordered a general mapping and reconnaissance mission all around the entire area. And the next day, he orders Brigadier General Charles Stone to make a demonstration against the enemy. Okay, this is pretty complicated, but according to our reports, Stone sends out the 1st Minnesota with some artillery support, but they fall back before nightfall. But this isn't over yet. Stone then sends an order to Colonel Devins of the 15th Massachusetts to order a scouting party of a pursued location of the Confederate camp. So, Devins then orders 20 men to do a scouting mission. They report back, it's a quiet and unmoving Confederate camp. While not the most clear sign, this is enough for Stone, so he then orders Devins to order again a 300-men expedition to attack the Confederate camp once daylight happens on the 21st. For the upcoming battle, the Union will have only one division, Stone's division. There are multiple brigades, though. The 1st Brigade will be under Brigadier General Fredrick Lander. It's made up of the 1st Company of Massachusetts Sharpshooters, 7th Michigan, 9th and 20th Massachusetts. The 2nd Brigade is led by Brigadier General Gorman, is made up of the 1st Minnesota, 2nd New York State Militia, and 34th New York. The 3rd Brigade is led by Colonel Edward Baker and is formed from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th California, a long way from home. There's of course also the 50th Massachusetts under Colonel Devins and the 42nd New York, plus additional artillery and cavalry as needed. Combined, this is around 1,700 men for the upcoming fight. The Confederacy is led by Colonel Nathan Shanks Evans, though maybe I should say Brigadier General Shanks because he got a Brigadier General promotion effective the 21st, though it's unclear to me if people knew about this at the time or if it would be after the fact. Evans is in charge of the 8th Virginia and the 13th, 17th, and 18th Mississippi, though of course also cavalry and artillery support as needed. They also number around 1,700 men. Colonel Devins and 300 men go out to raid the Confederate camp, but they come across only trees. It seems the 20 scouts sent out the previous night and mistook a forest for an enemy force. Devins sends word to Stone about his situation, and then forms up battle lines. It's a good thing he does, because while the messenger is running back to main Union camp, the small Union force with Devins engages a similarly small company of Confederate infantry. After he receives information, Brigadier General Stone orders the rest of the 15th Massachusetts to advance towards Colonel Devins' position, and for Colonel Devins to advance towards Leesburg, Virginia. But then, another player arrives, Colonel Baker, who is also a U.S. Senator. Stone then tasks Baker with surveying the situation and deciding if a battle should happen, if the length of this skirmish should go into a full-forced conflict. Without much studying, Baker decides, yes, a battle will happen here and now. In order for the Union to get to Colonel Devins' position, they need to cross the river with boats. And for Colonel Baker's idea of a full-fledged battle, this is a problem. There just aren't enough boats. So for Union reinforcements to arrive, it's going to take some time. By the time any substantial amount of reinforcements have arrived, Devins has already engaged twice more with the Confederates. And by 2 in the afternoon, he realizes this is not worth it and begins a very strong withdrawal. Then he comes across Colonel Baker. For about 1 hour, there's a small chance that this will not turn into a huge, bloody battle. But those hopes are dashed. The Confederates soon envelop them on 3 sides, leaving only the river to escape through. And this small skirmish becomes a killing machine. The crack of musket fire, screams of the wounded, just the hailstorm of gunfire. And in 4:30, a first in U.S. history, a U.S. senator is killed. Colonel Baker is struck by a bullet and dies. And with him, Union cohesion. There is a general, uncoordinated panic as men desperately try to get across the river and back to the main Union camp. Of course, before this, they try one last time a desperate charge, but they can't even muster enough strength to reach the enemy lines and are repelled by gunfire. All that remains is a desperate struggle of survival. Though just as it was hard to get Union reinforcements into the battle, it's hard to get them out, and the fleeing men desperately try to get onto any boat they can, capsizing many. The wounded and just those who don't know how to swim drown. The Union loses a very high amount. 223 men dead, 226 wounded, and 553 captured. Confederates lose 36 men dead, 117 wounded, and 2 captured. A disastrous day for the Union, and a nice bolster of victory for the Confederacy. What a waste of human lives. The same day, a battle at Camp Wildcat, Kentucky. Camp Wildcat is situated around here, near the Cumberland Gap. The Union will have 7,000 men for this battle under Brigadier General Albin Schoepf. The Confederates have around 5,400 men under Brigadier General Felix Zollicoffer. The battle begins when Schoepf sends 350 men of the 33rd Indiana to Round Hill. The second they arrive, they are shot at by Confederate pickets, who mainly report back to Zollicoffer, who then sends more men to take the hill. This begins a battle, which then is alerted to Schoepf, who then sends more Union men in to hold the hill. It soon becomes a race as men from both the Union camps and Confederate camps are continuously sent in. The Union is holding, but very, very strenuously. Whenever they can, the 33rd Indiana dig in with fortifications and breastworks. The Confederates launch piecemeal attack after piecemeal attack. Their coordination is so bad, they actually miss openings in the Union line. But the strength of the 33rd Indiana's fortifications hold out. Zollicoffer realizes he won't be able to take the hill and withdraws. The Union lose 5 men dead and 20 wounded. The Confederates lose 11 men dead and 42 wounded or missing. This battle is not the only action in Kentucky this week. 2 days later, the Big Sandy expedition will begin. Wait, seriously? Is this really on the same day? Well, since everything is happening on the 21st, a battle at Fredericktown, Missouri. Fredericktown, Missouri is located in the southeast of Missouri, around this area. The Union number anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 men, are led by Colonel Joseph Plummer. The Confederates number around 1,500 men, are led by Brigadier General M. Jeff Thompson. Thompson has been on the run from the Union forces for quite some time, and he is tired of it. So he devises an ambush. He hides most of his forces and leads only a single regiment led by Colonel Lowe, along with a 12-pounder cannon as bait. The battle truly begins as some Union cavalry skirmish with Colonel Lowe's regiment, but the 17th Illinois soon takes over for the main fight. Union artillery quickly routs the crew of the Confederate 12-pounder. The 20th Illinois and 11th Missouri then move in to help the 17th Illinois brutalize Lowe's regiment. And it really does work. Union cavalry then moves in to take the 12-pounder cannon, and it's at this point the ambush is sprung. But the 17th Illinois thinks quickly and moves in and starts engaging very rapidly with the enemy. Then, the rest of the Union body moves in to attack the Confederacy, and Thompson realizes the day is going against him and withdraws. A Union victory. The Union lose 7 men and 60 wounded. The Confederates lose 25 men dead, 40 wounded, and 60 captured. On the 22nd, a name change. The Confederate Army of the Potomac becomes the Army of Northern Virginia, which will now go up against the Army of the Potomac for the Union. This is a complete switch from earlier when the Union had the Army of Northeastern Virginia and the Confederacy had the Army of the Potomac. The 24th Western Union finishes the very first transcontinental telegraph. It's a new device, the telegraph, that allows for near instantaneous communication, this time from the west to east coast. Also on the 24th, a vote. Let's see here. 18,408 vote in favor of the state of Kanawha becoming independent, and 781 against. A victory. And with this vote, Kanawha goes from Kanawha to West Virginia. Now, if you're looking at these vote totals, you might be wondering, was this election really legitimate? Well, let me put your mind at ease. Union soldiers would stop any Confederate sympathizers from voting and were posted at voting places. And less than 1/4 of registered voters in the area voted. And the more remote counties, people didn't even bother creating voting stations. So yes, it was 100% legitimate. Why are you even asking? Then there is Sickles. He actually receives a letter. His daughter writes to him as warmly as his wife. I hope, dear Papa, that you will write just as often as you can, since we are all so happy when your letters are received. She then goes on to talk about her new dog Jack, and she worries that the old dog Nero has died after being lost for 5 days. And she then goes on to write about a meeting between both of her grandmothers, her mama, and of course her. How very fine your soldiers and horses must appear, and how glad I should be to see them. Will you let us all come to see you one of these days? Grandma Sickles says she intends to make you a visit. Oh, how happy we shall be if you can come to us at Xmas. Accept an affectionate embrace and 10,000 kisses, dear good Papa. From your Laura. And here the week ends, with battles, new telegraphs being built, and elections. But behind it all is just a kid desperately wanting to see their father. Behind all the movements, battles I list, there are casualties, and those casualties matter. There are millions of kids who miss their fathers, mothers who miss their sons. The letter? There are so many letters like these. If you tried to just imagine the war, don't think of the flashy battles. Think of the desperation of families trying to stay together. Hello! It's literally the entire Civil War week by week team here. This time in a spiffy costume. Now, if you liked the video, please click like. If you want to see more, you should be seeing around now a recommended video for those of you with low commitment. For those of you with slightly higher commitment, There should also be a playlist of the entire war up till now, plus this week's episode. And if you want to see more, or the entire Civil War depresses you, and you're very worried, so you don't want any information about the possible Confederate invasion, which is coming right towards you, Maine, then don't subscribe. But for those of you who are willing to defend Maine, which is in imminent danger, please subscribe. For those of you who disliked the video, you're probably a traitor. Lincoln!